Your paycheck hits, and you open a budget. You've got a spreadsheet, you've got categories, you've even set spending limits and told yourself, this month I'm getting it together. And then, halfway through the month, the same thought shows up again. Why am I still struggling? The automatic questions follow. I'm budgeting, so why isn't it enough? Why can't I save? My income is rising. Why do I still end the month at zero? Most of those questions lead to the same mistake. You believe the budget is the solution. But most of the time, a budget is just a record. And a record doesn't change your life. It just documents what happened. Because a budget doesn't intervene at the moment of decision. It steps in after the decision. And control applied after the decision doesn't create freedom. It only tracks the damage. In the previous video, we talked about how the first 72 hours after payday set the rhythm of the month. The key idea was this. When money arrives, your first decisions build the structure. Today, we're going one layer deeper, because even if those first 72 hours go well, if you don't have a filter for the rest of the month, the structure still collapses. Here's the first distinction. A budget is a planning tool, but financial pressure rarely comes from bad planning. It usually comes from a missing filter. Most people think opening Excel equals control. You list expenses, you assign percentages, you distribute categories, and you feel temporary relief. That relief is dangerous, because the feeling of control replaces actual control. The assumption sounds logical. If I build a clean budget, my financial stress will decrease. Why is that belief so attractive? Because a table reduces uncertainty. It creates visual clarity. It makes responsibility look organized. But here's what it cannot do. A table cannot improve the quality of your decisions. On the 20th of the month, it's easy to say, there were unexpected expenses. The real question is this: were they truly unexpected, or were they unfiltered? At what point do you stop adjusting numbers and start questioning decisions? The budget is the outcome. The decision is the process. And the process is what determines the result. This isn't just a low-income problem. High-income individuals repeat the same cycle, sometimes in a more dangerous way. Because when income rises, justifications become easier. I work hard, I deserve it. I've been stressed, just this once. I'll cut back later. Here's the pattern. At the moment of decision, you create a justification. At the end of the month, you write the result. And you repeat that cycle every month. If the process is flawed, the budget becomes nothing more than a report. Financial pressure rarely comes from one big mistake. It comes from small, recurring, unfiltered decisions. Status purchases, deferred saving, small installment payments, subscriptions you barely use. Each one looks harmless on its own, but they share one thing. They weren't questioned at the moment of decision. And here's the psychological trap: the illusion of control. Opening Excel is not control. Setting limits is not control. Control is the ability to automate no. Someone who budgets feels disciplined. But if the decision criteria are unclear, discipline won't save them. Will higher income fix everything? Maybe temporarily. But higher income doesn't solve a missing filter. It magnifies it. When income rises, lifestyle expands. Lifestyle expansion creates new obligations. Obligations shrink margin. Promotion, bigger home, higher payments, more fixed costs. The budget still exists, but now it's not a management tool. It's a prison blueprint. Because every line represents a commitment you can't easily undo. Now, let's separate two things clearly. The budget speaks at the end of the month. The filter speaks at the moment of decision. Anything that speaks at the end cannot protect you. It can only report on you. And reports don't create freedom. When budgets are misused, this happens. You feel systematic, but you've only organized your spending. Order is not a system. A system prevents repetition of mistakes. So what's the system? Here's a simple, memorable model. Financial flexibility equals decision filter times repetition discipline. If there's no filter, repetition compounds damage. If there is a filter, repetition compounds strength. Because money management isn't about big decisions, it's about repeated small ones. So what is the filter? Two questions, asked at the moment of purchase. Is this necessary? Does this expand my margin or shrink it? If a spending decision doesn't increase space, it doesn't increase strength, even if it fits the budget. Those questions are simple, but they hurt, because they remove the "I deserve it" escape and force you to confront one word: margin. Margin is the real measure of financial power. If you have margin, you negotiate. If you don't, you comply. And if a decision increases obligation, even if it's budgeted, it reduces power. The problem isn't money volume, it's maneuverability. The real danger isn't spending, it's the silent shrinking of options. When options shrink, leverage drops. When leverage drops, stress rises. When stress rises, error rates increase. That's the loop. A budget doesn't break that loop. A filter does. With a filter, even low income can build strength. Without a filter, high income builds fragility. In earlier videos, we discussed how higher income doesn't automatically create power. Today we're zooming into the micro version of that idea. Power comes from decision quality, not from spreadsheet cleanliness. Someone can have a perfectly organized table and still struggle, because what isn't tracked is decision discipline. Now the automatic question appears: should I just be more disciplined? No, discipline alone fails. Discipline gets tired. A filter doesn't. If the filter is clear, decisions are faster. If decisions are faster, repetition becomes easier. If repetition is stable, structure forms. And when structure forms, financial pressure declines. Because pressure doesn't come from lack of money, it comes from loss of control. If this perspective helps you, like the video and subscribe. Each video here isolates one decision. Now back to the starting point. You're budgeting, but you're still struggling. The issue isn't that budgets don't work. It's that budgets act too late. You built a table, but you didn't build a filter. This isn't about saving more, it's about decision architecture. If you remember one thing, remember this: fixing the spreadsheet is temporary. Building the decision filter is structural. In the next video, we'll examine how this same filter narrows or expands your investment decisions.